So hello everyone, welcome to this another video of this channel. I'm Abhishek Verma and in today's video, we are going to start with the chapter 10 of our Spring AI playlist. Till now, you must have heard something about MCP, Model Context Protocol. It's a standard protocol designed by Anthropic. And in today's video, we will see why do we need MCP, what is MCP, and how to create a MCP server from scratch using Spring Boot. So without wasting more time, let's directly get started and see how the things are going to look like.
So now we're in the IDE, and before we start with our today's demo, first of all, let's do a quick recap and see what we did last time in demo number 8. For this, we will directly go here. Then let's move on to this pom.xml. Then here we see that, okay, we were having Java 25. We were using the web dependency, OpenAI dependency, and we were using the Lombok dependency. Then we said there's nothing much. Then we can go here in this. Here we see that we just have the application name, the API key, base URL, completions path, model. Again, same what we have been seeing since demo number 1. Then we can go here and first of all, let's move on this part. So here we see in the app, we are just having the main method, nothing much interesting. Then we see here, and this is again just a logging advisor. We have been using it again since multiple demos. Then we were into this particular one, chat config. Again, this is a very simple one, chat config. Here we are just adding a logging advisor, nothing much. Then we can go here in this chat controller. Here we are having two APIs. First one is simple generate. Second one is generate with tools. The only difference is here I'm making usage of these tools, and within this I'm providing this custom tools. Now the point is how we were creating the tools. So we were creating the tools here in the declarative way. Before this, we have created the tools in the programmatic way. And this is how my tools are going to look like. First tool is to provide you current date and time. Second tool is to print something on the console. And it's very, very simple. So let me close all these things, and from here also let me close everything. So this is what we did last time in demo number 8. Now let's start with our today's demo. But before this, first of all, we have to understand why do we even need MCP server. So for this, let me directly take you to my presentation. So now let's see, why do we first of all need this MCP, and what is this MCP? So here we see that this is my current demo only, the same demo which I shown you just now. So there we were having one app class, which was just containing the main method, the chat config, the logging advisor, the chat controller, and the custom tools. So this is how it was looking like. So what we see here is that besides the main logic of calling the AI, or you can say of calling the LLM, we are also having an external logic to make these tools and everything. And currently we were having only two tools, just to provide you current date and time, another one to just to print something on the console. But now let's say that within this AI demo, let's focus on this custom tools only, and you will see that I have added two more methods here. What are these? That I will tell you in some time. But let's assume that besides this AI demo, I'm having another application, that is Pakistan. So this is the application which we have been creating since all other playlists, whether you say JDBC playlist, Maven playlist, Hibernate, Spring Basics with Spring Boot, Spring Data JP, Spring REST, and all the playlists we have developed this particular project of Pakistan. Now here in this one, we are having some APIs to work with the owners and pets, and it is having the service class, controller layer, database layer, and all other things are there. So it's a very big application. If you want to know more details about this, then you obviously have to watch other playlists also. So this is my Pakistan, and the other one is this PDF King. So this PDF King here, I have actually not shown to you in any of these playlists, but this is just a very simple app which I have created on my own. And in this, what I do is that I provide an encrypted PDF, a PDF which can be opened with a particular password. And then what it will do is it will generate a new PDF which can be opened directly without the password. And sometimes this option is required also. So here, these are my two applications. Both are having these APIs also. Obviously, if we want to make usage of these APIs, these functionalities, then we need to invoke these APIs. Now the point is that we want to make usage of AI also, and we want to make usage of these things also. So what we will do is that within our custom tools, I will be making a method called Pakistan API, and from there I will be invoking the APIs of Pakistan. Now within the Pakistan, there can be 5 APIs, there can be 10 APIs, there can be 20 APIs. And as of now, we are not concerned which API we are calling. As of now, let's assume there is just one single API which can accept the owner ID and it will provide the owner and pet details, so that we are invoking. Just a very simple thing. Then the other one is call PDF King API and something like this. And somehow we are able to call this also. Now, obviously, if we want to call these APIs, what are we basically doing? You will say that, okay, Abhishek, you may be making usage of REST template, or you may be making usage of REST client within these two methods. And yes, you are absolutely correct. That's the way of invoking something external, something third party. If you want to call, you will either make usage of REST template or you will be making usage of REST client. Now, the problem here is that when you want more and more such features, that okay, you want to work with this application, you want to work with that application, maybe you directly want to work with the database also, maybe you want to work with the overall file system in your Windows or something else, maybe you want to work with some email sending functionality, SMS sending functionality. If you will start adding all these things, all these tools within your this AI demo only, then it will become very, very big. And what is the problem? That besides having our main AI logic, it is also having these many extra things as a part of tools. Yeah? And this is obviously not a good practice. Yeah? So what we do is that here we go for MCP. MCP is Model Context Protocol. So what it suggests is, it says that there is going to be a standard protocol using which you can make usage of the external tools or any kind of external APIs. You can talk with the database also. You can talk with the APIs. You can talk with the file systems and each and everything. So that is the thing. So how it is going to look like in our Spring AI context. So here, this is going to be our AI demo, which we are going to call as MCP client, or you can even call it as MCP host also. Any of the names are going to be fine here. Here you see that now in this one, we are only going to have our app. We are only going to have our chat controller, chat config, and the logging advisor. Most of the things which are related with the LLM. You will see we are not adding tools here. And besides this, here we are having this Pakistan and the PDF. So now what we will do is we will create one more application, which is again with the help of Spring Boot only, and we will call it as MCP server. Within this MCP server, we are just going to provide our tools. That's it. Here we are not going to provide any of the AI logic. Only our tools are going to be there. And again, internally from these tools, we can invoke Pakistan, we can invoke PDF King just with the help of REST client or the REST template also. It is your choice, whatever you wish. If you wish, you can just have a simple get current date and time, a simple print method and everything. So this is how the MCP architecture is going to look like. Now the point is that, okay, how this MCP client is going to interact with this MCP server, and that is something very, very interesting. Okay, so here what happens is, when we say this is an MCP server, what it will do is it is going to publish these tools. Okay, so it is going to publish these tools within the MCP client. We are just going to mention the base URL of our MCP server, and then automatically we can work with all the tools as per the runtime. So we will ask something from the AI, and then this AI will have an idea that, okay, I have access to these tools and it is going to work. Now you will say that, okay, Abhishek, then instead of using this MCP server here, what we can do is that we can directly mention these tool endpoints and these things in the Pakistan and PDF. So maybe one Pakistan can be one MCP server, PDF King can be another MCP server, and you are absolutely correct. That also can be done. Because just imagine what you have to do. Within the Pakistan, you just need to mention @tools annotation and maybe some dependency of MCP server, and that will become. Same in the PDF King also, you will say @tools annotation, some dependency of MCP server, and that is also going to work. But in that case, what will happen is that in your Pakistan, you are having a very sacred logic to work with your database and all these things related to the Pakistan. You are unwantedly adding the extra logic of tools and the MCP server there. So again, that is not a good practice, because just imagine, it is again something like someone asked that, okay, why should I make multiple classes? Okay, don't make multiple classes, don't make multiple methods, put the whole application logic in one single class, in one single method. That will also work. But is it a good practice? The answer is no. So from the architectural perspective, this is something which we are going to do. So there will be these separate tools. There can be this MCP server using which we will be accessing other tools or other APIs. So by that time, these are APIs only. MCP server is going to publish the tools, and then MCP client is going to make usage of these tools. Now the question is how it is going to do. So for that, what happens is we are having three approaches. First one is standard input output. So here in this one, what happens is that we create a particular jar file of our MCP server, and then in that particular jar file, we are going to run in our machine. So when that particular jar file is going to run, and then in the MCP client, we are going to mention the location of that particular jar file. Depending on that particular jar file, whenever we will invoke something in the MCP client, it will directly make a call to this MCP server, and then it is going to work because of those logging things. Okay, because in MCP server you are going to log the request and the response, so using that it is going to work. But that means that okay, you have to create a separate jar, then you need to mention the exact location of jar file in your MCP client, and that is a very hectic process. Okay, it's not a good production ready application. So instead of it, there is a second option also. Second option is Spring MVC based SSE. So here SSE means server sent events. So what we will do is that in this case, our MCP server is going to have the APIs. So our MCP server is actually going to run on some particular port number. Let's say localhost colon 9090. Then within the MCP client, we are just going to mention the base URL only, not anything besides that. We are just going to mention the base URL. The moment we are going to provide the base URL, automatically then with the help of this HTTP, it will be able to talk with the MCP server. And these things are generally synchronous in nature because it is MVC. If you want to make it asynchronous, then the best approach is to go for Spring Webflux based SSE. Again, almost the same thing. The only difference is that in the Spring MVC, we are going to return a particular, let's say, string. But in Spring Webflux, we are going to return flux of string. So this is in general going to be asynchronous in nature, and hence it is going to be non-blocking. So this is how the things are going to work, and this is how I try to explain with the help of my simple presentation. Besides this also, let me first of all take you to some documentation, and then we will start coding. And now we are in our favorite Spring AI documentation. So from here we will directly go for this reference, and then you will see there is something as MCP, Model Context Protocol. Okay, so that is the complete name, Model Context Protocol. And then here we see that it is a standardized protocol that enables AI models to interact with the external tools. So using this, we can interact with the external tools. Why it says it's a standardized protocol? Because earlier you see, in order to talk with the PDF king, you need to invoke some different kind of APIs. They may need authentication. They may have some different base URL and something else. In order to talk with Pakistan, it is going to have a different structure. You need to worry about all those things and everything. But now this is going to be more standardized in nature. You are just going to mention a base URL and you will get almost each and everything. So not only tools, it is also going to provide you some resources also. What are these? We are going to see after some time. It supports multiple transport mechanism, as we saw, STDIO, SSC, or Webflux SEC, or all these things are expected. Yeah. So this is how it is going to look like. And today we are going to create a server. In the next video, we will be creating a client also using Spring Boot. So if we want to create a server, the number one thing is that we need to create a new project, obviously. Within that, this is going to be your dependency, MCP server. Now the point is, this is just a base dependency. The moment you are going to add it, you will only get the by default STDIO approach, which means that if you want to interact with it, only option is that first of all, you need to create a jar file for this particular thing. And then whatever it is going to log, using that, you can interact with these particular tools. So that is not much user friendly in the production ready application. So instead of it, the another option is we can take help of Web MVC server transport, which will be making usage of SSE, server sent events. And here the dependency is just having a simple addition, that is hyphen Web MVC. So this is going to be an addition. And the third option is hyphen Webflux. So this is for the Webflux things, yeah, mostly for the asynchronous. So today we are going to work with this Web MVC part. Yeah. So in this Web MVC here, we see that, okay, there are multiple properties and each and everything. So Which are these properties? These we are going to see after some time. But before this, let's directly start creating and see how we can make a MCP server and how we can utilize this also. Yeah. So for this directly, I will go here into this particular one. And as you see, I haven't created demo number 9 till now. So what I will do is I will go here and let me say this particular one Spring Startup project. And here, let me call it as demo number 9. So this is how it is going to look like. Maven, Jar, 25 Java, everything looks good here. So let's click on next. Now here, what do we need basically? So in this one, the interesting part is you don't need anything much. Yeah, you just need one MCP. So here we say model context protocol. Now here it is only, and we are going to create a server. So we will be using this particular one, model context protocol server. Now we don't need anything else. Yeah, we just need something as Lombok. That also, if you want to make usage of some Lombok features, otherwise this Lombok is also not required, and you just say finish here, and that's it. Yeah. So this is how it is going to look like. So let's give it some time so that it will start working. And here it is. So let's move on to this pom.xml. So here we see that, okay, we are having this parent and everything working fine. Let's remove this unwanted things of URL and since this SCM. So this I have removed. Here it is Java version, Spring AI version 103. That is the latest one now. Then here you see the dependency starter MCP server, which means that if you are going to use, then you are going to use the stdio approach. But I want to use web MVC approach. So what I will do is here I'm going to make an addition. Here I will see web MVC. Okay, so automatically you as of now you won't see the option, so we have to add this manually. Then we are going to remove this extra line. We are having Lombok, we don't need to do any kind of testing, so let's remove it. Here this is looking good, here this is also looking good, and here let's also remove this particular line. And yeah, this is how it is going to look like. Now afterwards, since we have removed the testing, so let's remove this testing package also. So it is looking like this. Let's go here, application.properties file is simple, let's simply call it as demo. So this is how it is going to look like. Then let's go here and let's rename it as app, because that is something which we are doing in general. It has nothing to do with the overall architecture or anything. It is just my wish. I want to call it as app. Yeah, I mean, that looks nice. Okay, so now this is my app, and again here we don't have to do anything much. So this one looks fine as of now, and that we have already created. Now what we need to do is we need to look through some of the properties. Yeah, so here in the properties, again let's go back to this particular one. Here we see that first property is enabled. So first of all these properties are going to start with this prefix. Okay, so let's copy this and move back here, and let's add it somewhere here. Now let's see what else we can use. So first of all, it is enabled. So by default they say that whether do you want to enable the MCP server or not, and yes, we are doing all this to do it, so hence by default it is true. So yeah, that is fine. Then the another one is for stdio. Do you want this stdio support or not? So this is you can make it true when you want to work with the stdio. As of now I want to work with ssc, so I will keep it as false only. I'm not going to make it as true. Then the next one is name of your server. So by default it is going to provide the name as MCP server, but what we will do is we are going to provide a new name, because in production maybe there are multiple MCP servers. Okay, maybe you are creating one single MCP server for Pakistan, one single MCP server for PDF King, so in that purpose. So let's go here and let's start calling it as dot, and here let's say name. Yeah, and here let's call it as demo, and here we will be calling it as demo number 9, and here let's say MCP server, demo 9 MCP server. So we are going to call it something like this. And after this, let's, as of now, let's put this one, and let's not fill this particular value. So okay, this looks nice. And then the next one is there is some server version. As of now we are not interested, it is by default going to be 1.0.0. there are no instructions. The type is going to be sync. So this type is basically helpful. You will be using sync when you are not using the normal web MVC. If you are using webflux, it should be async. Now since the default one is going to be sync only, so we don't need to worry much. Otherwise you can change the value. Then here we say that which all capabilities are provided. So there are multiple capabilities like resource. Okay, so what happens is that in MCP beside tools. So till now in this, from starting only I said that okay, we are going to use MCP server to provide the tools, but beside tools we can provide other things also. We can provide something as a resource. So many times what happens is, let's say there is a particular static resource. Now for that static resource you don't want to, I mean, do anything much as RAG or anything. Okay, you directly want to utilize that particular resource, so that directly you can provide here. So it can be a text file, or it can be any other simple, let's say a JSON resource, or it can be anything. Okay, so that resource also we can provide here. Then obviously tools can be there, some prompt. So sometimes you want that okay, there should be some user friendly prompts, so that user don't need to write again and again, they should be available as the hints. So those prompts also we can provide and something. Then completion capabilities, so this is going to be by default that okay, it should be auto completed and everything. Yeah. So these things are going to be there. And this is another main thing, SSE message endpoint, that later on when client is going to invoke, then which URL it is going to use. Okay, so here the URL which it will be using is going to be /SSE. So this is going to be the base URL /SSE. How to use it, that I'm going to show you today also. Internally it is going to make usage of MCP message, but we only need to worry about this one, SSE endpoint, because that is very, very important. If you wish, you can change this also. Then there is some base URL. As of now we are not interested, it's fine, we are just going to call it as localhost colon our port number, and then they request timeout. So here they say that okay, let's assume that you have made a request to a particular MCP server, and in order to provide response to that MCP server, it is taking like 3 minutes. So are you going to wait for those 3 minutes? Answer is no. Generally we don't want to wait for 3 minutes. What I want is that it should be able to answer me within 30 seconds or so. If it is taking more than 30 seconds, timeout. Simple. Okay, there is some issue, we have to make it faster, or if we wish we can increase the time also. So by default this time is going to be 20 seconds. So as of now we are fine with 20 seconds. Later on if required, because here we are making usage of free models of AI, then we will see that okay, should we increase or decrease this time. As of now I don't feel that okay, for our basic get the date and time and getting printing something on the console, we need to increase this value. So we are fine with this particular thing. Okay, so that means as of now we are just having the name and the MCP server name, and beside this we are having nothing much. Just one more thing, interesting thing which I want to add here is that is going to be logging dot level, and then it is going to be io dot, it is going to be model. So it is going to be model context protocol, and we are going to call it on the trace level. So what happens is we want to see what is going to happen internally. So in order to see those things, you have to enable this trace, because by default it is on the info level. So you won't be able to see all those traces, all those logs and everything. Yeah. So this is the point, and later on we are going to okay, as of now let it be fine. So it is working on 8080, so this looks good. And here now what I'm going to do is, and as of now I haven't created anything. Okay, so just in the pom.xml I just provided the dependency. Here these two properties I have added explicitly, and within the app this is how it is going to look like, nothing much. And I'm just going to start it. That's it. As of now I haven't even added the tools. So let's see what it is going to do as of now. So here let's go here to this particular one, and let's see what it says. So here we go. So here you see what it is trying to say. It says enable tool capabilities. So tools it is going to provide, it says true, resources true, prompts true, and completions capabilities. So it can provide all these tools. Now how to use this particular one? Okay, because obviously if I will simply go here and I'm going to call it as something as, let's say, localhost colon 8080, and then simply I'm going to say slash, then I will be getting some error. It is not going to work fine. Okay, so what should I say? We remember there was something as /SSE. Okay, so let's call it as /SSE. So yeah, so when we say something as /SSE, we will see something like this. Okay, that there is some ID and something, and we can go back here, and here what we see is, we see it says creating new SSE connection for this session. So this for this session, so this ID you can match here. So this ID is working. So this is one session, so it has created, and this transport has been initialized with the SSE builder. So it is working fine. But the problem is we don't see anything here. Yep. So in that particular case, what I will do is I'm going to stop it from here, and here also what I will do is, let me just clear each and everything. Now let's go to our Postman. Now within our Postman also we can directly use this. Okay, let me show you how. And in case if you won't see the option, then you just need to, upgrade your Postman. So we will go here into this plus. Now here, okay, it is directly showing me something like this. So I will go here in this new. Now generally we work with the HTTP using our Postman, but here itself you will see there is an option of this MCP, Model Context Protocol. So here it says the Model Context Protocol is an open standard that enables developers to build secure two-way connections between their data sources and AI powered tools. Okay, so using this we are going to test only as of now. By default it is showing me the option of std.io. I don't want to use it. We are using the SSE one. Okay, so even if you are using MVC or you are using Webworks, so this is the one you will be using. And here let's call it as HTTP, and this is the one. HTTP localhost colon 1980/SSE. Okay, and here let's provide it some name. Here let's call it as server. So here let's call it as server, or let's call it as custom tools. So here this one is for my custom tools. Yeah, so this is the one, custom tools server, and let's click on connect. So let's see what it is going to do. So currently it says that okay, fetch, and there is some issue, it is not working. Okay, it is not 1990, it is actually 8080. Okay, so it should be 8080 and /SSE. So let's again give it a try. So okay, so here this time it says SEC, and you see here it says there are tools option. So currently no tools found because we haven't created. Prompts we haven't created. Resources we haven't created. Okay, but it is able to connect. Now if we go back to this particular one, and here we see, so we see all these debug level because there we mentioned trace. So if you will mention trace or debug, then only you will be able to see. So what we see here is that first of all, a request was initialized from there. Then this is the session ID this time, and then here it is going to provide all these details. So whenever it is going to make a request, it is going to provide the tools list, all the prompts list, all the resource templates list, and each and everything it is going to provide from its side. Now currently this is empty, so nothing interesting is going to happen. So let's stop it as of now, and what we will do is that here let's start adding some tools and other things. For this, instead of creating it from the scratch, what I will do is I will directly go for the previous one, and from there I'm going to add it. Okay, so let me add it like this. So here I have added, and this is how it is going to look like. Simple. So I'm just going to add two tools. If you wish, you can add multiple tools also. Like here you can add another method. Within that you can make a request to a third-party API. You can have the service layer also, or here only you can have the repository layer. So all these things you can do here. Yep. So here we have just created tools and nothing much. So let's simply clear it again, and here let's again make a call, and this time let's see what it is going to do. Yep. So this time I'm hopeful that it should be working fine. We should be able to see these tools. So here it says that okay, this is the thing. Okay, here it looks good. So here let's go back, and here let's again click on connect. So this time we click on connect. Obviously there are no resources, there are no prompts, but there were tools which we don't see here. Why? We are not able to see the tools here because the problem is we have added the tools here, but these tools currently are not exposed. Okay, we need to publish these tools also. Okay, so let's see how to do. For this, simply let's close it will take some time, but not an issue. And in the meantime, what we will do is here let's create a class. So here we are going to say something like this. Here let's call it as MCP server, and let's call it as config, and within this let's put it inside my config package. So this is how it is going to look like. Now this class is going to be a component class only, not a component but a configuration class. Only then it is going to work. So let me call it a configuration. Here let's say Control Shift O, and here another thing is that okay, here I have to create a bean so that I can publish all these tools. So I'm going to create a bean here, and within this bean what I will be using, so I'm going to make usage of this tool callback provider. Okay, so this is how it is going to look like, tool callback, and here we are going to say tool callback provider. So this is the one, tool callback provider. Let's say Control Shift O, Now within this, we are not going to return this one. Instead, we are going to say something as method based tool callback provider. So this is the way to return these tools. And here we are going to say build a method based. Okay, this is not method based. This is just going to be, I mean, sometimes it gives some random things. So it is method tool callback provider. So this is how it is going to look like. Then we have a builder, and then we say build. So Control Shift O, and this is the one. But still tools are not there. So how to provide the tools? So this time we can directly say here custom tools, because we are already having the bean of it. Yeah. And here we are going to say tool, and this time we are going to say tool objects, and within this we are going to provide these custom tools, and we are going to say something like this. Now you will say that, okay, Abhishek, last time when you were using @tool, then you didn't made something like this, because last time, if you remember, within our controller we were directly auto-varying these tools, and then we were using here. This time we are not even having any kind of controller, so we can't use that approach. So this is the only approach which we can use, that we have to make a tool callback provider. So now let's again give it a start. So let's go here and let's see how it is going to look like this time. So it is taking some time, it is starting. Okay, let's go here. It says initialized and do these things, and here this is the new line which I can see. So here only it is showing you that, okay, it has registered two tools. So first it says that tools capability is true. Then it says there are two tools. For resources and prompts, it is showing you nothing, which means they are going to be 0. But this time I'm hoping that I will be able to see the tools. Now let's go back here, and here let's again click on this connect. And here what we will do is, yeah. So here you see it is connected, and here under the tools, you will see we are having these two names. Okay, this name and this description. So this name and description you mentioned on the tool, but see, you are automatically getting here. Yeah. Now what is the job of this get current date and time? Okay, its job is simple. It is going to provide you current date and time. Yeah. So what we will do is we will go here and we are going to clear this so that we can clearly see what happens, and let's click on run. Yeah. And here we see that, okay, there is something. So let me just make it something like this, and here this is the output. So it's a text output, and here this is current date and time. That is something which we want here, isn't it? It says, is there any error? Answer is no, there is no error. It's good. Yeah. And here what it says that, okay, message sent to this particular session, and each and everything is working fine. So this was invoked and something like this. Okay. Let's clear the same thing again. This time let's invoke the other one. Yeah. For the other one, we will go to print, and in the print, you see here it is going to accept something from the user, and that only it can print. So here we will say India is a country. Okay, so here we are going to say India is a country, and here let's click on run, and this time here you see in the output we see done. Here it says it is false and everything. So it looks good. Here let's verify. So here actually that particular tool has been invoked, and hence it is printing. It is saying printed India is a country. So same thing. So that means our tools are working. We were able to create a MCP server. So now this MCP server, just by using this single URL, you can use anywhere. You can connect it with any other kind of your AI application. Yep. So I tried it to connect with the Cloud8 desktop, because generally if you will see other YouTube videos, they are going to show that option only. But the problem is, when you will see other videos, they will show you that, okay, they are making usage of stdio approach. Now generally that approach we don't use in the production. But the reason why they use that approach is because Cloud8 desktop as of now supports only stdio approach only. It is not supporting the SSE approach. I tried to use it, but it is not working, or maybe that works in the paid version. Yeah. And there was no other option. So this was the only option to show you this thing. Now what we are going to do is, okay, let me click on this cancel. So what we are basically going to do is that in the next video, we are going to create one MCP client, and there we will be trying to use these MCP server, and we will see that, okay, in general, how it is going to work. In future, if there are another, I mean, UI clients like Cloud8 desktop, or maybe ChatGPT, or maybe Gemini, if directly they can, I mean, support these tools, then we just need to provide this base URL. And now you know that, okay, how to create one MCP server. In the next video, we will see how to create MCP client and integrate both of them together. So till then, bye everyone, and see you next time. Bye bye.